So we're going to talk about the properties of a good Biosand filter mold. So we're going to talk about the properties of the mold. This is the version 10, and I'm going to show the key parts that we need to check when we receive a new mold. So one of the first things to check when you receive a mold is that the steel that's been used is the correct thickness. You want to make sure that it's good quality, it's nice and smooth. These are just sort of visual checks that you do just to see whether it looks right. Beyond that, we want to start looking at the dimensions of the mold, how square it is it according to the specifications, and we'll talk about that as we go through. Biosand filter body comes in two versions. There's the 10, which is this one, and the 10.1. So the 10, as you'll see, it has a ledge built into the molds, and the 10.1 has no ledge. So the idea is that with the one that has no ledge, we're going to be using a diffuser basin that sits inside the Biosand filter body, and it's supported on the top edge of the filter box. With the version 10 that has the ledge, this one's designed so that you can use a diffuser plate or a diffuser basin, but it actually sits on the ledge that's created by this part of the mold. So these three pieces are the main parts that the Biosand filter mold breaks down into. We have the internal portion of the mold, and then this part and this part form the outer part of the mold. So when you receive a new mold, as I said earlier, you want to check that generally things look good. The materials that have been used are clean, they're smooth, there isn't any obvious rust that's on there. And you want to check the dimensions of the mold, all the pieces, to make sure it matches the specifications that are listed in the mold building guide. One of the key parts to pay attention to is this internal part. It needs to be square, it needs to be the right dimensions, and it needs to be tapered so that it allows this piece to be pulled out of the concrete once the Biosand filter body is cast. We have a simple square. We can check that the edges are square, and they are. We can check all the parts. This one has been made really quite well. Everything is square. We can check the dimensions also to make sure that they match what we have requested from the welder. So that's bang on. Also, very good sizing. It's very square. The quality of the construction is really important, and the finishing is key. So we have many welded edges on this mold. So we've welded here, we've welded here, we've welded up here, across here, around here. And when a weld is initially finished, it's usually very rough, and it's not a nice smooth surface that slides easily over wet concrete. So the finishing of all these seams is really important, and these have been ground down and smoothed off to be actually very smooth, nicely rounded, so they don't catch on the concrete. And that's a really important piece to pay attention to when you receive particularly a new mold. If there's any roughness, get the welder to grind it down again and smooth it out. The outer portion of the mold is as important as the internal part. Again, we're looking to make sure that everything is really nice and smooth, nice and clean, there's no rust, and then again everything is true and square. One of the things that we recommend highly is that we make a mark on both the internal mold and the external portion, so that when you put it together, everything lines up, all the bolt holes line up, and that it fits together properly. So generally what people do is they'll make a couple of marks on the outside portion. So here there's two little grooves have been ground, and then we know that those two grooves line up with these two grooves on the internal portion. So that lines up, and we know that the bolt holes line up, we know that everything is true, and then this portion lines up on the back. So the inside of the external portion of the mold, everything needs to be smooth. And it needs to be really clean, because this is the part of the mold that creates the surface of the Biosand filter body. So if this is rough, the body will be rough. So we need to have it nice and smooth to get the best finish we possibly can. Also looking for any blemishes that may occur. So this one has been bolted together. All the pieces have been bolted in the back here. Sometimes it's welded. So these 3 pieces are welded together. And then you have to be very careful about making sure that any welds that appear on the inside of the mold are ground down smooth. So we're not catching the concrete, we're not damaging the corners of the concrete box. So again, it's all about making sure it's smooth, making sure it's square, everything's true, and with that you should have a good Biosand filter box that's